There is a debate people keep having. Are narcissists evil or not? A lot of people say no because they had a hard past. Some say yes because the harm is real. What do I say? The simple truth. Even if a person is not born evil, the choices they repeat can turn them into something that is evil, that works against all that is good. When someone keeps doing what hurts others on purpose and keeps liking the outcome, the reward that comes from it, they become evil eventually. Period. Call it the devil if you like the old language, or darkness if you prefer simple words. It is evil. They become evil. Whether you hold it as a symbol or as a real force, the demonic force does not change what you see in front of you. Narcissists are anti good, anti life, and anti love. This is not about one bad day or one mistake. This is about a path they forge, step by step, repeat by repeat. At first, it begins with small things, a lie that gets them what they want, a trick that makes them feel strong, a refusal to take blame because blame feels weak. The rush is sweet. The voice, that little voice inside says, do the right thing. What do? They suppress it. They start to like the feeling of getting away with it. That's how the rot begins, then it grows. They use people who trust them, steal time, energy, and hope. They turn their children, other children as well, into tools. They make their partners feel crazy, collect followers who clap for them. All of this builds a kind of debt in the world. You see, energy always returns to its source. In time, it does. Across the different life stages of a narcissist, it's not just the psychological shifts they go through, something spiritual shifts as well. They become demonic by nature. You see, the thrill that begins as something they like, it turns into a need. Need becomes a habit. The habit hardens into identity, and then that identity is called their personality. I'm Danish, a narcissistic abuse recovery professional. Welcome to my channel. The topic for today is 5 life stages a narcissist goes through before submitting to the devil. In other words, before fully turning evil. Stage number 1. They choose easy over right. Feel the rush, yet keep going. It starts with small choices that feel easy. Tell a lie to get out of trouble. Twist a story to win. Blame someone else so you do not have to say sorry. Push a boundary because you can. The first time their body shakes a little bit. They feel fear as a child. Then the reward comes, which reinforces the behavior. Someone believes a lie. Someone gives in. The fear drops. The reward hits like sugar. The brain learns fast. Do this again. It works. If they grew up in pain or chaos, this rush feels like life returning. It feels like power. There's also shame under it, but they do not sit with it, do they? They build an alternate false self. In that self, they're always right, smart, always above rules. The voice of conscience tries to speak. What does it say? Do the right thing. They turn up the music. They call the right thing weak. They start to say, the world is like this. Only winners survive. They start to say, I do what I must. The spiritual shift that happens here is simple. Warnings become noise. The inner compass gets pushed to the back seat, and the person steps over the line and notices nothing bad falls from the sky. So they step over it again. Choice becomes their pattern, and patterns become path. Each step makes the next easier. The thrill is now a need. That is how the rot takes its root in a narcissist's identity. Then comes the stage 2. They feed on innocence and train others to serve the lie. Once a rush is a need, they need supply. The easiest supply comes from those who trust them the most. Guess who those people are? Partners, parents, friends, and most of all, children. Children are open. They want to please. They copy what they see. And what does a narcissist do? They see this and turn it into a plan. They split people into roles. One is the golden one who gets praise for blind loyalty. The other one is a scapegoat who gets blamed for everything. They tell different stories to different people, to each person to keep control. They reward tiny acts of obedience and punish tiny acts of truth. They use silent treatment to scare and use gifts to glue. They mix love with fear so no one can tell the difference. That's how they trauma bond people. This is grooming. It makes a child think that chaos is normal and doubt is love. It makes a partner think that walking on eggshells is care. It makes a family orbit around one person's moods. And that stops real growth. It steals years. It creates a field of pain that keeps feeding the narcissist's need for power. The spiritual shift here is that they are not just ignoring their own conscience during this stage, they are bending other people's conscience to fit their needs. They touch what is sacred in any home: the trust between parent and child, the safety of the dinner table, the truth of the bedtime story. They poison these things and turn them into tools. Every time they do this, a kind of weight builds in the air. You can call it karma, you can call it moral debt. Name does not matter. Energy finds its source. And it waits. And then it starts to come back to them in stage 3. The debt returns. They get louder as the mask starts to crack. In time, you know what happens to narcissists. People leave. You wake up, children grow up and move out, friends pull back. Work stops working because charm has limits. Money problems show up because lies are expensive. Health starts to slip because age burns the body. Sleep goes bad. The face looks weaker, older, and evil. The circle gets smaller. The world says no in many small ways. This is the moment most people would slow down and look inward. A narcissist does just the opposite. They get louder, meaner. They try to outrun the debt by acting more grand and more cruel. The rage becomes faster, the stories get bigger, and the lies grow. They mock what is sacred because it makes them feel strong. They laugh at faith, laugh at rules, laugh at the idea that anyone can hold them to account. The more doors close, the more they say the world is jealous of me, the world is unfair, people are snakes. Yet they're the biggest snake. They blame every person they have ever hurt. They tell everyone that person was the problem. They keep moving so they do not have to feel. Spiritually, the silence they once used to drown the warning voice now feels like a dry well. Prayer turns into a performance and their rituals feel empty. The coincidences that once helped them now turn against them. Small truths keep popping up in places they do not expect. What am I talking about? Screenshots that show up. Witnesses speak. The mask slips in public. When they look in the mirror, there is a flash of the real face under the act. And it scares them. Instead of stopping, what do? They double down. Rot spreads faster when you pour pride on it. And that's exactly what happens to a narcissist. Stage 4. They trade love for control until the hunger eats them from inside. At this stage, warmth to them feels unsafe. Real love asks for honesty, repair, and work. They find that boring and hard. Control is easy, so they choose control. Control gives a quick hit, so they choose it every time over you. They treat people like parts in a machine. They talk in transactions. I give you this, you give me that. They keep a list of favors. They use secrets as weapons. They keep past acts of kindness as a tab you can never pay back. So eventually, cruelty becomes attractive to them. Watching someone cry feels like proof of power. Breaking a promise feels like a win because you cannot hold me. Even sex turns into a game of conquest and punishment. They set traps and test loyalty. They push you away and pull you back when you try to leave. The cycles get shorter. The fights get meaner. And the fake peace they pretend to have gets thinner. They look for new people to feed on, but each new person gets less sparkle than the last one. Why? Because the high fades faster. And eventually that emptiness starts to come out. The spiritual change feels like a winter during this stage. The inner ground that could grow anything good is now frozen. There is no joy in small things. Music that used to lift them up does not land. The smell of food does not comfort them anymore. Nature feels far. Everything feels grey. They cannot feel awe, cannot feel true thanks. They can only feel hunger. And that hunger is cold. It does not sleep. It wakes them at night. It sits with them in the car, whispers in meetings. And it wants control, attention, praise, and submission, which they're not easily getting. It never says enough. It eats their own peace first. Then it eats everyone else's peace. This is the place where you see a person become unsafe in every way. They will risk their job, home, their health, and their children's future to feed that hunger. When a narcissist is going through stage 4, they become really volatile. They can't keep it together. They are still working, still trying to act normal, but it is oozing out. Now you can see the darkness in their eyes. That's where the breakdown begins. And that's when the actual evil self comes out. The skin they wear, it just wears down, and you can see the darkness behind it. Stage number 5, the mask falls, and what they choose is all that is left. There comes a point when the tricks stop working. Too many people have the receipts about these narcissists. Too many bridges are gone. The charm that once filled a room now feels fake the moment they walk in. The jokes are old, their eyes look flat. People who used to feel sorry for them now feel numb. People who used to fear the narcissist now feel tired. The mask is heavy, it slips. You see the same old grumpy face at home and in public. The character and the real person are the same. The mask is not hiding anything anymore. It has merged with the skin. This happens after many discards and many returns. It happens after legal fights, health scares, and money holes. It happens after family holidays where everyone leaves early and work events where no one wants to sit close. It happens when their own lies cross each other so often that they cannot keep track of what they told to whom. The person has become the lie. There is no warm self to return to because that self was starved for too long. Spiritually, this is the union with evil people talk about in old stories. Again, you can hear that as a symbol or as a real force. Either way, the facts match. There is no inner light or fight left. There is no pause before harm. There is no pull toward repair. There is only a set of moves. They run like a script. They blame, threaten, destroy. There is no love bombing or begging. There is extreme threatening. When you look for kindness, you find strategy. When you look for remorse in them, you find self-pity. When you look for change, you find a plan to hide better. This is why trust is not possible with a narcissist. Nothing is possible. Nothing, not with money, not with your child's mind, not with your time on this earth. Nothing, because they become volatile. It's like a wounded animal. Worse than that, it's like a free fall. They can recognize and see that they're falling and they try to hold on to something, but they cannot. And when that happens, you see a total monster. Sometimes that monster goes silent. Other times it rages and rages until people around them wish for their end, for their death. But talking about union with evil, with devil, all that fake religiousness, that spirituality, the mask of goodness, it's all melted. And you can see when they speak nothing but evil. They do nothing but evil. They look at nothing but evil. They are surrounded by extreme negativity, dark matter. Wherever they go, they carry that energetic heaviness with themselves. And when that happens, know that a narcissist feels extremely defeated and they have taken solace in evil. That is their safe haven. And I'm talking in a literal sense. A lot of them have demonic entities attached to their nature. I have had so many experiences which I will share very openly, but I can attest to the fact that they carry stuff with them towards the end when they have been totally exposed internally that most people will think is out of horror movies. What have been your experiences? Let me know in the comments. With that, let's bring this episode to an end. Thank you so much for listening. I will talk to you in the next one. Until then, as always, let the healing begin and continue.